Welcome to this tutorial for Cisco Cybervision. In this tutorial we are going to cover the process of vulnerability acknowledgement. Cybervision supports you by securing industrial networks. It does that by providing you with the technical capabilities to identify assets communicating in the network, primarily inspecting and analyzing the traffic passively. The results are provided to a Cybervision center and used for further processing. It is the basis of all features and functionalities, like the ability to assign vulnerabilities to assets, as well as the foundation for segmenting your networks, detecting leaks and driving compliancy and governance. With this visibility and a subsequent matching of cybersecurity vulnerability to each of the assets, you have the opportunity to manage the exposed risk. Managing the risk exposure of your assets and your network is a process of its own. The process always starts by gathering information about the assets and their communication-based relation in the network. This also includes the identification of vendor, model and firmware version of each asset. Provided all the data and information, Cybervision supports to structure and group the data. It is an important step, especially in a scaled environment with large networks and a lot of assets communicating. The third step in the process is all about managing the risk exposed by vulnerabilities which were assigned to your network and assets. With the inventory being built, the risks being identified, mapped and being taken care of, it is important to monitor and maintain everything. Let's focus on step number 3. Managing the vulnerabilities. This demo presumes that you have a center with connected sensors that already provision data. To get started, log into your Cybervision Center. Click on Explore in the main menu. Select a preset. For this demo, we will select the All Data preset. Please make sure that the timespan selected on the top of the screen includes data. If you cannot see the data you expect to see, you might want to increase the timespan. In this example, it is set to cover the last day. Click on the Devices panel. You will be presented with a list of all devices that communicated in your network during the specified timespan and which comply to the filters you might have specified in the preset you selected. The header of the column listing the vulnerability score allows you to sort the values. Click to sort it in a descending way, to put the device with the highest vulnerability score on the top of the list. Click on the device being listed with the highest risk score and let's examine the drawer with the details of the device. Among all details, you can spot the vulnerability count at the bottom. Click on it. You will be presented with the list of all vulnerabilities which were assigned to this particular device, based on the characteristics and communication. This list not only contains the public referenceable ID of each vulnerability, a description, and its severity in comparison with other vulnerabilities, but it also contains an indication if someone already acknowledged it. Acknowledging a vulnerability tells the system that you do not want to be notified about this vulnerability for this device anymore. There are different reasons on why to acknowledge a vulnerability. You may have already taken action and applied patches to mitigate the risk. Other reasons might be that the device cannot be patched, or it is located in a part of the network for which the vulnerability is not applicable. Click on any of the vulnerabilities and you will be presented with a drawer showing all details for the vulnerability you selected. If you decide to acknowledge the vulnerability, you need to provide a reason for acknowledging it, and submit your decision. Once you submit it, you will receive a confirmation. If you find that you should not have acknowledged this vulnerability and you want to revert your decision, you need to change the filter on the upper right-hand side to also include already acknowledged vulnerabilities. Changing the filter will include already acknowledged vulnerabilities back into the list. Once done, you can see the vulnerability that was just acknowledged to be listed again. If you click on it, you get the option to revert your previous acknowledgement. Once done, you can see the vulnerability to be back as not yet acknowledged. In addition to work on acknowledging vulnerabilities via the user interface, you can also do the same in a programmatic way. CyberVision provides you a RESTful API to do that. Let's have a closer look at this option. Navigate to Admin in the main menu, click on API followed by Documentation in the submenu. If you scroll down on the documentation page, you will find a section that focuses on vulnerabilities and how they are being covered from a functional perspective via the API. To bulk acknowledge vulnerabilities, you can leverage the corresponding API call. It allows you to specify the vulnerability ID, as well as the device IDs to acknowledge the vulnerability for. If you are interested in leveraging the CyberVision API, please consider watching the dedicated video for it. Thank you for watching this tutorial about the process to acknowledge vulnerabilities in CyberVision.